live here. I'm Emily. You should be used to seeing me behind the counter. Tom gave up the mic to me for the first portion of tonight, so we'll see how this goes. So welcome to Uptown Bills. They were named after the man behind me with the beard. His name's Bill Sachter. For most of his life, he was institutionalized in Faribault, Minnesota. After he was released from the institution, he met a man and woman named Bev and Barry Morrow, where he became part of their family. So when Barry got a job in Iowa City, it was only natural that Bill came with them. So when they were looking for jobs down here for Bill to do, they tried lots of different things, and without luck, but they came across Bill. He loved to make coffee, so they opened up a coffee shop down in North Hall, the School of Social Work at the University of Iowa, and that is called Wild Bill's Coffee Shop. So we're kind of the cousin here at Uptown Bill's. Wild Bill's was opened over 40 years ago, and Uptown Bill's opened in 2001, so this is our 16th year. We're doing lots of projects here at Uptown Bill's. As you can see, we have the bookstore, coffee shop. We're also doing the Thursday Night Live with PATV downstairs, so this is being broadcasted on live television right now. So for any of you guys watching, we're located at 730 South Dubuque Street. If you want to come on down, we'll be here until about 8:30. But yeah, other than that, I'm excited to see all the performers tonight. Thank you.
Well, we got Joe coming on first here. We do, yeah. So he's going to read a little bit from his new book. And while he was on the phone there, this happened the other night too. How come you get calls here? Don't they know where you are? They're trying to sell you a siding, aluminum siding. Maybe we could have the drawing quick before, while you're on your way up. Okay. Let's see. We're giving away 2 books tonight. One is stories about Mom, and the other is the first paper girl in Red Oak, Iowa. Great stories, wonderful character descriptions, but I tell you, some of the characters are strange in that one. So anyway, let's see. Maya will pick us a winner we'll do the short stories Red Oak, Iowa one first. Denise Hyatt. Great. Oh, good. Glad you came right up. We'll turn you on in a moment there, the microphone. And let's see, for the Mom, these are reminiscences about Mother by various people, and Mothering, Jeff Spencer. Okay. It's a good collection. Thank you. All right. Let's get to Joe. He's written another book, and he's going to give us a little taste of it. And then immediately after that, we're going to our featured performer for tonight, Danielle. Our other person who was going to be here called in dead for tonight, just tonight. All right.
It's dawned on me that, how many of you know that Uptown Bills has its own theme song? No? Oh, would you like to hear it? Yeah. Okay. Let's all go to Uptown Bills. It's on Dubuque Street, just over the hill. The Axstar is good and cheaper than the mill, and there's nothing like it in Coralville. Okay, this is the second chapter of Skip Day. In the first chapter, Joe Ralston has been looking at this hearse that's for sale, that's been parked on the lawn in front of the local funeral home. and over his father's dead body, he's been able to rent it from the funeral home, and now he's gathering his buddies together, and they're going to decorate it. With glee, Joe started calling his friends. The first was Don Mackey, the most social of his friends. After the successful launch of the Soviet Union's spaceship Sputnik in 1956, the public's reaction caused a renewed interest among students in science, and Don started the Sooner Rocket Society. This whole story takes place in Oklahoma. That's why the Sooner Rocket Society. His friends gathered, designed, and fashioned metal tubes with various sorts of shapes and fins, filled them with magnesium oxide, and attached fuses. Then they drove into the country to a pasture and set the rockets off. Larry Stutzman, who was as a graduating senior had won the log duplex Desi-Trig slide rule at Enid High for receiving straight A's in mathematics since 8th grade, would calculate the rate of ascent, rotation of the tube, height achieved versus fuel consumed, angle of descent, and other factors using data that the other members collected. Then, after thoroughly second-guessing Larry's calculations, the members would write down their findings and send them to the U.S. Department of Defense. They never received a meaningful reply, but they had fun, especially when the flights were over and Don would break out 2 six-packs of beer, and the youth celebrated their successes. Don's home during that senior high school year had become a center for illicit booze parties. His mother had divorced his father when he was in elementary school. Mrs. Mackey had supported Don and his sister Janet by working in Enid's Carnegie Public Library. During the boys' junior year, Mrs. Mackey had applied for and secured a job at the Library of Congress. When she moved to a Maryland suburb, she took Janet with her but left Don so he could finish high school with his friends. She left him in the care of some neighbors who might look on him once or twice a week. Don disciplined himself well doing his homework, housework, and laundry, but when it came time to have fun, the cigarettes would come out and the booze would flow. The parties usually had a focus: riotous costumes on Halloween and hijinks on the Saturday night before Mardi Gras, complete with a plastic baby baked in a devil's food cake. In the background, Don usually played his favorite music by Louis Armstrong and his All-Stars. Don had friends come over once to hear a spiritual medium tell fortunes, and several times to subject them to the skills of a hypnotist. When Joe told Don of his plan, he readily agreed. Next, Joe telephoned other friends in his neighborhood, all of whom were members of the Sooner Rocket Society: Larry Stutzman, Leslie Cherney, and Jack Hargrove. They all agreed to Joe's plan. Cherney, a recent immigrant from Hungary, awed Joe. When Leslie was 15 and the Hungarian Revolt broke out in 1956, he was living with his parents and his older brother Miklos in Budapest. Both boys were members of the Hungarian underground. They wound up in the thick of the fight. During one encounter, Leslie killed a Russian soldier with a butcher knife, seized his machine gun, and killed another score of Soviet infantrymen. On another occasion, he threw a Molotov cocktail at a Russian tank. The family somehow managed to flee Hungary and come to the United States. Leslie's father found a job teaching European history at Phillips University on Enid's east side. Les, who was a whiz at science, had fit right in with the Sooner Rocket Society. His older brother, who became known as Mike and who was a student at Phillips, became their supplier of beer. For one meeting, the members could not scrape together enough money for such name brands as Budweiser or Schlitz, so Mike had to buy them 2 six-packs of Progress, the only beer brewed in Oklahoma. After a successful launch, the boys broke out the Progress. Leslie took one sip, spit it out, and proclaimed, "These stuff tastes like horse piece." The boys were laughing so hard that no one thought to ask him how he had acquired that distinction. Since grade school, Joe had held Jack Hargrove in double focus. In one way, he felt sorry for Jack. Jack was a better athlete than he, but Mrs. Hargrove would never let her son participate in such sports as basketball or football for fear he might suffer an injury. Unlike Joe, Jack did not like school, particularly math. Mrs. Hargrove stood over him constantly as he did his homework. Even though school for him was boring, Jack thought that being in the Sooner Rocket Society was cool. "Why the hell do we have to factor binomials?" he asked Joe. "What good is that going to do me in life?" In another way, Joe envied Jack. He threw himself into playing the saxophone. He talked the band director at Enid High into organizing a jazz band. When the director decided to perform Stan Kenton's intermission riff, he gave Vito Musso's tenor saxophone solo to Jack. When the band performed the tune during a high school assembly, Jack brought the house down with his huge tone and energetic performance. Jack tries to organize his own dance band. He even acquired some arrangements from a local band leader, Vernon Dowd, about whom Joe's brother John used to say, "Here's music by Vernon Dowd. It isn't very pretty, but it sure is loud." Joe grabbed his guitar and went to Jack's house for several alleged rehearsals, but all Jack wanted to do was flirt with the girls at the piano and the ones in the woodwind section. In fact, outside of music, all Jack wanted to talk about was sex. Joe silently envied his alleged conquest, but he was repelled by his attitude towards women. Jack lived a few doors away from the head bellhop at the Youngblood Hotel. Whenever Jack saved $20 from his allowance and odd jobs, he would call the bellhop, who set him up with one of the prostitutes who frequented the hotel. Once Jack tried to seduce a mentally retarded girl in the neighborhood. The girl, knowing that Joe was an acquaintance, came to him while he was shooting baskets in his backyard and asked his advice. "Jack tells me he loves me," she said wistfully. Joe, horrified, warned her away from him. One night when Leslie was new to Enid, Joe and Don invited him to a movie. Don also invited Jack to join them as Joe drove his mother's 1952 lime green Packard, known to the guys as the Boat, to Jack's house, and as Don howled with laughter, Joe bet Leslie $1 that within 20 seconds of entering the car, Jack would talk about sex. "Why would he want to talk to me about such things?" Les asked as his face reddened. "I don't even know him." "He just will," Joe replied. "He must be a really strange guy." "That he is," Don affirmed. "I can't afford $1," Les said, as trying to be one of the guys. "Can you make it a quarter?" "Okay," Joe replied, not wanting to take advantage of his new friend, a quarter. As Jack entered the car beside Joe, Don introduced him to Les. Then Jack asked, "Are you guys ready to get some pussy?" A car was halfway downtown before the laughter subsided and Joe and Don could explain to Jack what had happened. "You really made money off Leslie by doing this?" the outraged Jack asked Joe. "Hey, what can I say? You're a very predictable guy." On Thursday morning, after securing the hearse, Joe encountered the Enid High School's principal, Bruce Selvey. Selvey and his wife, Esther, were longtime friends of Joe's parents. In fact, they had been classmates with Joe at Phillips University in the early 1920s. Selvey was a member of the Haymaker team that defeated the University of Texas Longhorns in a legendary football game. Selvey epitomized the spirit of Enid High School. He infused pep rallies with vigor, even when the school's basketball and football teams were terrible. His major trick, reminiscent of Oklahoma icon Will Rogers, was to twirl a lariat so large that it would cover the stage, encompass the cheerleaders, and even hover over the front rows of the school's auditorium. He also led the students in rousing renditions of a cheer that had been written 4 decades before by Marquis James, the Pulitzer Prize-winning author, who had grown up in Enid and had been Joe's forerunner as editor of The Quill. That's the high school's biweekly newspaper. "Let her rip, let her roar, let her go once more. Enid High School, o'er and o'er. Enid, Enid, Enid." During pep assemblies, Selvey made the students repeat the cheer until he was satisfied. Then he would allow them to return to their classes. Selvey was popular with most students, but he had his detractors. He oversaw discipline at the school. Evenings with the Selvey family were often interrupted by telephone calls from irate parents, the police, even lawyers. His family often wished they had an unlisted telephone number, but Selvey, even though he was the same tough guy, cared as much about the parents as he did about the students. Selvey was also the Quill's censor. He communicated his displeasure with Quill copy through the journalism teacher, but occasionally he would compliment Joe on ideas that put pep in the biweekly. The Ralstons and the Selveys met monthly for dinner with 2 other couples, Jewel and Finest North and Ray and Mabel Beecham. After dinner, while the women washed dishes, crocheted, and sewed, the men played dominoes. Ray did not like the game, but he sometimes found an excuse to leave the game to watch television and smoke cigars. Joe has had the other boys and the families before him would be invited to play in his place. The other men taught Joe the finer points of the game by example. As Joe learned to block games and to win, he quietly won the other men's admiration. Joe also felt sorry for Selvey. When the superintendent of schools in Enid finally decided to retire at age 70, a time that many people in Enid thought was long overdue, the school board ignored tradition and passed over Selvey to hire a young successor from outside the system. The new superintendent wasn't even from Oklahoma. He was from Missouri. Sylvie would become his new assistant and help him become acclimated to the system and the city. The respected but less flamboyant principal at Emerson Junior High School, O.T. Rogers, would succeed Sylvie as principal of Enid High. Over the next 4 years, Sylvie was supposed to ease himself into retirement. This skip day celebration will be kind of a swan song for him as well, Joe thought. When Sylvie saw Joe that morning, he said, "I hear you're going to drive one of Henniger Allen's hearses in the skip day parade." Joe's mouth fell open. "How do you know that?" he asked. "Oh, not much in this town escapes my attention," he replied. Then he grabbed Joe by the shoulder and looked him firmly in the eye. "It's an interesting idea. Make us proud of you." Joe's spine tingling. Then he thought, "I'll be so glad to get out of this town where everyone seems to know my business." After school, Joe walked to the mortuary to pick up the hearse. As impressed as he had been with the shiny black and chrome exterior, he was even more impressed with the interior. Seats and walls were covered with burgundy plush. On the floor was a thick burgundy carpet. The dashboard was lined with burgundy leather that had been recently treated so that it smelled like new shoes. The steering wheel and column and the dials on the dashboard were all black with luminous numbers and marks. There were 2 rows of seats. In the back was plenty of room for a coffin and 2 rows of benches over the back wheel wells, which Joe thought must be for the pallbearers. An attendant handed Joe the keys. "It has automatic shift, so it's easy to drive," he said. "However, it doesn't have air conditioning or power steering, which is why the boss wants to sell it. But that shouldn't be a problem for a big, strong guy like you." Ever so slowly, Joe drove the hearse home and parked it on Ferguson Street next to his parents' home. A few minutes later, the Ralstons' telephone started ringing. Neighbors were asking, "Jane, is everything all right? Dave, who died?" The parents patiently explained. Joe's sister, Debbie, a gawky 8th grader at Longfellow Junior High School, who had been recently fitted with both braces and glasses, took one look at the hearse and shouted at her brother, "You'll do anything to embarrass me, won't you?" and ran crying to her room. Jane Ralston motioned her son to go about his business and went to comfort her daughter. Joe's cousin, J.C. Riley, a 9th grader at Longfellow, came over from his home across the street and asked if he could join in the hijinks. "Sure," Joe told him. Within an hour, Don Mackey, Larry Stutzman, Les Cherney, and Jack Hargrove arrived to begin painting the graffiti. "This is gonna be so cool," Mackey said. The other boys agreed and patted Joe on the back. Stutzman took one look at the hearse's burgundy exterior and said, "This looks like the inside of a vagina." Feeling that Stutzman had inappropriately appropriated an observation in his field of expertise, Jack Hargrove shot back, "How the hell would you know?" Stutzman lifted his nose and, with as much affability as he could muster under such stress, replied, "My parents have an Encyclopedia Britannica, and I looked it up and saw a color photograph." "I knew you'd never seen a real one," Hargrove countered. "Even if you had, all you would do is study it." Children, Joe told them. "Let's get started. I only have one bottle of white shoe polish with a dauber, so we'll have to take turns. I'm going to assign each of you a section of the hearse. Don, you get the front passenger side door. Larry, the rear one. Les, the rear panel behind the driver's doors. And I'll help you with the English. Jack, the hood and grill, and JC, the tailgate. I get the front door on the driver's side. On Saturday morning at 10, we'll wash and clean the hearse so I can return it to Mr. Allen that afternoon in the same condition it's in now. Are we agreed?" The boys all nodded. "Okay," Joe continued. "Let's go in alphabetical order according to Les' last name. So, Les, you go first." At that moment, Jane Ralston brought out each of the boys a frosted bottle of Coca-Cola. Joe was so busy with the other boys about the project that when it came to Jack Hargrove's turn, he failed to notice that Jack had covered the hood with Enid High's parody of the University of Notre Dame fight song. "Beer, beer for old Enid High. Bring on the whiskey, bring on the rye. Send old Selvey out for gin. Don't let any sober sophomores in. We never stagger, we never fall. We sober up on wood alcohol, while our loyal faculty lies drunk in the study hall." Joe was torn between protecting Hargrove's First Amendment rights and his pledge to make Bruce Selvey proud of him. He thought about smudging the principal's name. Then he figured out that the hood would not as easily be seen as the sides and that most people would ignore Hargrove's work. Finally, he came up with a way to neutralize it. On his driver's door panel, he wrote in huge letters, "Sell these rambunctious raiders right again. EHS 59 forever." With a few other touches, the graffiti was complete. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Let's see. Is Emily available for the responses, the questions for tonight? Okay. While she's on her way up, I'll tell you that Saturday night we have an evening from the Great American Songbook. Joss, Sasan, and others will be here. That means people like composers like Cole Porter and Richard Rodgers and George Gershwin. That's Saturday night. And then Sunday we have Vanessa Silberman is coming back from Los Angeles. She'll be joined by a guy who goes by the name Love Dimension and by Josiah Eden, who has been here once before for open mic and just stunned everyone with her musical talent. So that's Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock. By now you're probably confused. There's a little calendar over by the door you can take with you, or you can check us out on our website, uptownbills.org. All right, Emily.
All right, so the question for tonight was, what is better, a good car or a good house, and why? We have a car. Car is the best. Drives well, and you can sleep in it. A house, well, you're not going anywhere. A great house because a car is short-term, but a house is long-term. House, easier to sleep in a house. A great house, I think I'd be happier without a car. A great house, I bike everywhere. Who needs a car? A great house, of course. Why? Because a house is longer lasting and more personal. It's an extended member of your family. Great house, big enough for my children, grandchildren. Heck, they can take me anywhere I want to go. A great house, you spend most of your time there. Car, because you need a car to get to work, to get to your house. A great car. Cars allow for transportation and work, and road trips rule. The last one we have is a great house. Usually that's where we spend more time, unless you live in your car.
All right, thank you, Emily. If you'll notice every once in a while Emily closes the door. She's making a milkshake, and the roar from the milkshake machine. We have the old-fashioned ones. The roar is enough to stop whatever's going on out here. So, all right, we are thrilled to have with us tonight Danielle Ate the Sandwich, and she'll come up and all the way from Colorado. And you'll notice Elmo has a very subtle joke related to Danielle's presence tonight.
That's cute. Good evening, everybody. Hi. I am called Danielle Ate the Sandwich, and I am excited to be here tonight to play some songs for you. Thanks for reading for us. That was great. There was a lot of genital references in there. I liked it. Now the pressure's off for me. I don't have to. Okay, good. Yeah, you've already covered the quotient. I'd like to play a song I wrote. It's called Pet Store. Let me Just tune my ukulele, make sure she's sounding good for the fine folks of Iowa City. And you guys ready to hit it? Let's do it. I've been running circles like a madman. All the gerbils chirping in their cages. After hours at the pet supply store, jealous of the shapes that I've been making, and I'm wrong to be wondering, and I'm wrong. All the tanks alive with dancing goldfish, snakes and lizards diving in their food dish, all the crickets safe within their egg crates, ignorant of their last hours, and I'm wrong to be wondering, and I'm wrong. In the aisles, the bunnies doing backflips, birds are bragging, puffing up their plumage, all the hamsters chewing on their wood chips, alley cats all meowing at the moon, and I'm wrong to be wondering, and I'm wrong, and I'm wrong to be wondering, and I'm wrong. Isn't it a pity life is short? Isn't it a shame we're all just animals? Isn't it unfortunate that I was born uncertain of that feeling that you give me? Won't you give it to me more? So in the future, when the ozone layer gives into the weight of procreation, and all the spaces that our bodies take up have returned again to something weightless, then I'll be wrong to be wondering. I'll be wrong. I'll be wrong to be wondering. I'll be wrong. Thank you. Thanks, guys. It's great to be here. I live in Colorado, so I'm not from here. I'm on tour. It's nice when people show up, when you drive hundreds of miles to be somewhere to play songs. So thanks for filling the room. I know this is part of Uptown Bill's Live, and it's great to get to play songs for you on a night when other things would have been happening, when lots of people would have got to play songs, right? This is usually an open mic. Cool. I'll try to live up to the other performers who might have been here. Here's a cover song. This is a song I didn't write. It's called Dream a Little Dream of Me. Stars shining bright above you. Night breezes seem to whisper, I love you. Birds singing in the sycamore trees. Dream a little dream of me. Say nighty-night and kiss me. Just hold me tight and tell me you'll miss me. While I'm alone and blue as guys want to sing ba-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-dum. Pretty good. Ba-da-da-da-dee-da-da-dum. Give it back to mama. Stars fading, but I linger on, dear, and I'm still craving your kiss. And well, I'm longing to linger till dawn, dear, just saying this. Sweet dreams till sunbeams find you, sweet dreams that leave all worries behind you. And in your dreams, whatever they be, dream a little dream of me. You guys want to whistle? Very good. Stars shining bright above you. Night breezes seem to whisper I love you. And in your dreams, whatever they be, oh, dream a little dream of me. Nice badadi-doddings and nice whistlings. Cool, cool. That was just a test to see if you could handle what's next. I know you can sing ba-da-da-dum. I know you can whistle. Now I'm going to give you the task of singing words. You guys ready? The words are, she's got a bad habit. I say, I've got a bad habit, and you echo, she's got a bad habit. I'll give you an example of what it sounds like. I say, I got a bad, she's got a bad, I got a bad. You say, she's got a bad, this ain't a good habit. She's got a bad habit, I got it bad for you. Let's try one more time. I got a bad habit. That's right, I got a bad habit. This ain't a good habit. I got it bad for you. You passed the test, I'm gonna go right into it. I've got a bad one. I'm a piece in the floor, and I'm staying up late, just looking out through my people, praying you come knocking at my door. Here it is. I got a bad habit. I got a bad habit. That's right, this ain't a good habit. I got it bad for you. Verse 2. I got a plane ticket. Well, I bought my seat just in case you come rushing in saying I've had enough. Will you accompany me away from this place? Let me hear it. I got a bad habit. That's right, I got a bad habit. This ain't a good habit. I got it bad for you. Well, I turned my tricks into trade, went from the wrong side of the tracks into the other. I'm distinguished and made, but baby, when you come around me, I just turn to butter. I got a bad, she's got a bad, I got a bad habit. This ain't a good habit. I got it bad for you. Let me hear ya. I got a bad habit. That's right, I got a bad habit. Come on, this ain't a good habit. I got it bad for you. I got a bad, she's got a bad, I got a bad habit. The nuns and the monks think I'm daft and I'm bunk, 'cause I've got it bad for you. For you. For you. I've got it bad for you. Thank you. Hi, welcome. Oh, somebody finally had to sit in the front row. You guys are all doing such a good job of avoiding it. You're brave. Thank you for coming. My name is Danielle. I perform as Danielle Ate the Sandwich. Where'd you get that name, Danielle? I'm sure some of you are thinking. The funny thing is, there's not really a great story behind the name. I just thought of it while I was spending too much time alone. I'm kind of a wild woman in my brain. And sometimes crazy people just think of ideas, like I'll call my band name Danielle Ate the Sandwich. So I do like sandwiches. That looks sort of like a peanut butter and jelly, which is one of my favorites. I like classic sandwiches like grilled cheese and PB&J. So thank you, Elmo, for holding that for me. It just looks like it was meant to go there. I am on tour from Colorado. I've been touring the Midwest this week, and it's great to be in Iowa City. How are you guys feeling? Are you feeling Midwestern or what? I was born in Nebraska, so I'm my blood doesn't come far from here. Oh, was that a ooh because of sports? Or you hate Nebraska because of everything? Just you hate Nebraskans. Okay. I was never born in Nebraska. I've never been there, sports or otherwise. Here's a song called Two Places at Once. This is a song I wrote sort of as a goodbye letter. Imagine yourself running away from home, and this is what you leave. I'm a fool to be sitting alone in the evening. I'm a fool to be singing the blues. I'm a fool to be trying to be not like my mother, who is trying to not be like hers. It's a circle, it's a habit, it's a roundabout bathroom, and we're trying to scrub at the scum. And in life I am finding that it's best to keep trying, 'cause baby, it's not done till it's done. There will be hills, there are hills, no matter how far you get. There will be hills, there are hills, no matter how we try to get over it. And there are corners and caverns that won't soon forget me, and the faces that I knew will be loved. But I cannot quite rest until I'm next to the breast of the one that I'm so happy to love. There will be hills, there are hills, no matter how far you get. There will be hills, there are hills, no matter how we try to get over it. And the truth is in a book smashed inside some kid's locker, and a physicist is making it so, since the physical laws of science constrain me. I can't be two places at once. There will be hills, there are hills, no matter how far you get. There will be hills, there are hills, no matter how we try to get over it. So to my mother, my sister, and all who once knew me, I am here now, but soon I'll be gone. And in life there are losers, there are cowards and liars, and you can bet I was neither of those. Thank you. Thanks, guys. I've been having a good afternoon. I got to hang out with my friend Bonita. We went to lunch, seeing the sights of Iowa City. The bread, Mark? Bread garden. Bread. What? Why didn't we sit together? I came from Madison, Wisconsin. Before that, I was in Chicago, and before that, I was in Indianapolis. Tomorrow, I go to Kansas City. That's what I mean by Midwest tour. And the weekend before that, I was at the Ukulele World Congress with some of my friends from the Johnson County Ukulele Social Club. Cool. It's cool to see you guys again after camping with you for 3 days, for which I did not shower. I thought about showering one of the days, and I was like, I mean, that just feels like cheating, totally cheating. It's like lying. It's like looking at, it's like lying to your teacher. But I've been having a good time out on the road. I appreciate you guys being here. I like that you're on all sides of me, so I kind of have to work. I'm working the core tonight. Chicka, 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 chicka. Here's a song I wrote called Handsome Girl. And I am playing the ukulele, if any of you have never seen one of these before. Was that a mandolin? No. No, it's definitely not. Pretty girl, oh pretty girl, you are softer than the sheets you lay upon. Handsome boy, handsome boy, you are stronger than any man who's come before you. And these are the words they have chosen to mark you. Pretty girl, oh pretty boy, you are plumes of white smoke hanging in the sky. Handsome boy, handsome girl, you are bright and built like bridges held on water. And these are the words they have chosen to mark you. Handsome boy, handsome girl, your tendons pull your weight like carpet rides. Handsome boy, handsome girl, you are both from the same place deep inside of her and covered in their skin. We are the same things, and we touch in a dark room, but I won't tell you what I am hiding up my sleeve. Under my clothes, I am organs red and thin as paper dolls. Under my skin, I am cold as sacks of mazes made to lose you in them. And these are the words they have chosen to mark you. And these are the words, and I have chosen to choose you. Thanks a lot, everybody. I love to write songs, and it's amazing to get to play them, like I said, and have people show up. What's happening here? What's happening? I am Danielle Ate the Sandwich. I've got CDs for sale if you like any of the songs you hear, but I also have business cards with just links of where to find me and my music later on the internet tonight while you're safe in your home, if you've been affected by some of the recent happenings. in our universe. Sometimes it's better not to pull your wallet out in public. This is a baritone ukulele, and I'd like to play. Oh yeah. All right, we got some baritone players in here, or just fans of things who are slightly bigger. Ladies' night, right? Here's a cover song. This is Elvis Presley's "Can't Help Falling in Love." Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you. Should I stay? Would it be a sin if I can't help falling in love with you? Like a river flows surely to the sea, darling, so it goes. Some things were meant to be. Take my hand, take my whole life too, but I can't help falling in love with you. You guys want to sing? Wise men say. Wise men say only fools rush in. Only fools rush in. But I can't help. But I can't help falling in love with you. Like a river flows surely to the sea, darling, so it goes. Some things were meant to be. Take my hand, take my whole life too. Take my whole life too. 'Cause I can't help, I can't help falling in love with you. 'Cause I can't help falling in love with you. Nice singing. Thanks for singing along, guys. You have great voices, some harmonization in there. Woof. It's fun to play different crowds, different rooms, and some people just do not want to sing along. And it is really, it's like, I'm surprised some people just don't get sick. And I'm like, hey, I'm the one up here with everybody looking at her. It's not that hard, but it's way more fun when everybody sings along. So what I'm saying is that Iowa City is better than every other place that I've ever been. And on that note, I'd like to add that I have CDs for sale. It's a little kissing of the butt. Here's a song I wrote called "We Were the Only Ones." It's on my new album. This is sort of a song that I wrote to remind myself to be brave. Sometimes I'm very cautious. I'm modest. I rarely jump out of planes, or I rarely tuck and roll out of high-speed cars. Some of these are good things, but sometimes it starts to feel like I hardly do anything. Anybody lame? Is there anybody who's pretty lame here? You're feeling lame? Yeah. I feel lame a lot, but you're not lame. Oh, lame, literally. Yes, that's fine. You did it. We're gonna. You took it there. We should start a little sideshow. I think. I think we'd be great. So this is for people who are lame, and it's just a reminder to be brave and take chances, because there's a lot of good stuff out there outside your door. So give it a shot every once in a while. It's called "We Were the Only Ones." There was a chance, so we took it. There was a car, so we sat in the dark. And there was a city of humans, but we were the only ones. The train car had turned to a diner. All the booths full of conversationalists through all of the chiming and chatter. You were the only one. Gonna blink, 'cause I've already learned my lesson. I'm not gonna blink, 'cause I don't wanna miss a second. There was a moment of silence. There was a language sitting right at our feet, but we just decided on quiet. You sitting across the table from me. I wanted to keep my eyes shut. I wanted to stop time suspended in air, but I hadn't quite made my mind up if everything I needed was bound to be there. I'm not gonna blink. I've already learned my lesson. I'm not gonna blink, 'cause I don't wanna miss a second. There was a moment in science. Someone decided the earth circles the sun. We did everything to defy it. Decided to go when the sun did come up. And it's another door. And it's begging to be opened. It's just another door. And you'd be foolish not to explore it. It's hardly simple. It's never one or the other. There is a reason why we are given anything There was a chance, so we took it. There was a car, so we sat in the dark. And there was a city of humans, but we were the only ones. Thank you very much. I thought I heard a sigh of satisfaction. That's good. Maybe just someone's dinner is settling. I'll take either one. It's really great to be here at Uptown Bill's. Are you guys all regulars at this joint, at this great groovy place? Cool, cool. It's great to play for a family. Yeah, you're here regularly. Irregular. Like you're here regularly, but you are also irregular. Yeah. Been there, buddy, been there. It's cool to play for a neighborhood spot like this that I can tell has a lot of love and personality in it. So thanks for welcoming me in. I'd like to play one more song. Well, I'm going to play a lot more songs, but I was going to play one more song on this ukulele. This song's called That Glorious Day. And I'm a songwriter. I'm inspired by a lot of things, mostly my own vanity and the drama of my emotions. But As long as I can put it on a CD and sell it, that's fine, right? As long as I can do that. But this one was actually inspired just by seeing a group of boys coming home from what looked like a very intense summer adventure. I was just pulling into my neighborhood and I saw them walking in a line, and I was just trying to imagine where they had been and what they had seen, what they had gotten into, whether it was trouble or adventure. And then I started writing this song for them and all kids growing up in the summertime and otherwise, and all of us growing up in the summertime or otherwise. And I hope it's going well for you. It's kind of a fast ride, right? So this is called That Glorious Day. That glorious day, we ran outside because the 2 days before it had rained lakes, and our mothers asked us please not to be long, but we never kept our promises. We knew the curves like the back of our hands of the women we kept frozen in a photograph, and our mothers asked us please not to do wrong, but we never kept our promises. Despite the dull heat, we managed to grow. Our legs were wild horses from blood unto bone, and our mothers asked us please not to grow old, but we never kept our promises. We never kept them. We never did. There was more to it all. I could have sworn it took a little longer than this. In the blink of an eye, it was over and gone. I could have sworn I had promised her this. That glorious day, we ran behind you. The screams of your mother were dripping down the driveway when your brother fell and his skin gave to bone. And you became a man when you carried him home. You carried him home. You carried him home. You carried us home. That summer we all became men. 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 Our mothers asked us not to be long. We never kept our